Mountain biking may seem like an unlikely place for the playground of an AI-led superintelligence. But in my opinion, the moment has arrived where this little understood technology will soon infiltrate everything we do, even the very sport of mountain biking that we love. To explain the sheer weight of development that makes me think this, I took a trip to the heart of the issue to see what I could discover.
I'm in sunny California. Fantastic view over the Golden Gate Bridge. It's really interesting actually because north is Marin County. It's the birthplace of mountain biking, a very special place to our heart. In fact, I'll show you some of that in a moment. And then over there in the background, San Francisco, San Jose, Silicon Valley. But what are we looking at here? We're looking at a dissection, a metaphor for the historic mountain biking that's out in these hills. And then maybe a whole new dawn of something very special. Because over in that area there is a superintelligence. Now, you may think I'm overstating it, but if I said to you that the aliens have just sent a message, they're 10 years away, and they're gonna turn up, we'd all be preparing, wouldn't we? But over there, in some buildings we'll look at in a moment, we've already had that message from an alien being that we made. What I want to do is investigate a hunch about how these two places can join up and meet in the middle with something very special that we'd all really love. May sound a bit sci-fi, but let's go back to the beginning and see if we can connect the dots. So there you have it. It starts there with the clunkers and progresses down. Can't help but notice Miles Rockwell's giant world championship winning bike there. But you can see how the bikes progress in this museum. Such fantastic looking bikes. Hans Ray GT Trials bike up there. Oh, San Andreas, fantastic. Kestrel up the top, Jimmy Deaton's Yeti. And then coming around to some really super team bikes. Look at that. Missy Giove's Cannondale. Miles Rockwell's Cannondale just there. Greg Minar's World Championship winning Santa Cruz. They're all so different, but yet they're actually very much the same thing. What an incredible building with some incredible stuff inside. And like I said, nothing's really changed much, but it's all doing the same stuff. And that stasis might not be around forever because, like I said, across that great big bridge just down the road there could be something very, very new and very, very different. Wow. Now, it seems unlikely, but in this very normal-looking building in the middle of San Francisco is a company called OpenAI who've developed an app called ChatGPT. Now, if you don't know what that is, it's a machine learning neural network. It's essentially a computer brain, an incredibly big computer brain. So if you haven't heard about it, ChatGPT, whose heart is in that building just there, is basically a large language model, which means it's capable of creating human-like responses in conversation. Unnervingly accurate responses. And the way it can do that is basically it's been taught trillions of bits of data. It's learned almost everything, including the whole internet up to September 2021. So this thing doesn't just go away and look stuff up for you. It actually knows it. I'm talking degree-level knowledge in everything. It's maybe the biggest brain that's ever existed in the whole of the human race. So what would that even mean if you could put something like that capability into a bike? Something that could think, that could know you, could make decisions. What would that look like? And I know it's in there, and you know what? They don't let it on the internet, because if they did, they don't know what it would do. Now, Apple and people like them have got us very used to this technology through predictive text, because you can think of ChatGPT a bit like predictive text, but on steroids. But instead of predicting the next word, it can predict the next paragraph based on the massive amount of learnt data. It's actually wise.
Elon Musk's Tesla is already mixing AI with a vehicle. Elon has also been a big advocate for pausing the development of AI because of its genuine threat to humanity.
And it's the prediction part of this that really makes me imagine what could be coming for mountain bikes and these brains in a bicycle. You see, this car that self-drives doesn't just know all the roads, doesn't use radars, it uses optical cameras as eyes. It looks at the environment it's in and predicts what will be the next move for what it needs to do. In this case, it thinks it's a car and it does what the car should do next. So over there, they have a similar brain to OpenAI, but this one has eyes. It's moving all around the world. We see them every single day. We're totally used to it. But in a very near future, Tesla are going to be putting that brain with eyes in humanoid robots. Millions of humanoid robots. Elon, do you remember that pause button? It's not just OpenAI working on these large language models. The big boys are doing it too. Now, Google's version of a very similar thing to ChatGPT is so incredible that one of the people who's working on it genuinely thinks it's become sentient. And it's that sentient nature that's really got me thinking about a more symbiotic relationship between AI and man, or maybe AI and bike. As adoption of this technology becomes more understood, then products will come out to take advantage of it.
Imagine a wearable device that gives you a heads-up display, following eye tracking to know where you're looking and what you're thinking.
Imagine grips that could communicate with the bike rider, or pedals that understood the intricacies of riding. Your riding. Imagine a bike that changed gears when you thought it should. A bike that could read your mind. A bike that could predict your next move. Sound too far-fetched? Am I AI dreaming? Well, whilst at Sea Otter Classic recently, I spoke to some experts who told me exactly how AI is already helping with manufacturing and designing the very products that we lust after.
At Bowhead, we use Solidworks as our main CAD design software. And within Solidworks, there's simulation and Composer and Visualize. These are all like packages on top that make the part look more realistic or tell you information about the bike part. And with the advent of AI, there's obviously a big buzz in the CAD world and in SolidWorks with integrating it more into the design. There's things called topology optimization, and that's where you end up with something that might look like a truss from a building that then starts to look more like a femur, a fibula and tibula, more organic shapes that are ultimately stronger. And that's where AI in CAD and in SolidWorks will really ramp up the potential of light versus strong versus stiff materials and shapes and parts. But AI has never ridden a bike, AI has never felt a bike, AI has never, ridden in wet, or it hasn't had these experiences. But what it can do is allow the person who has had those experiences to get to their end goal quicker. The more it does learn about what it is like to ride in the wet, what it is like to plant your feet and push into the pedals before a berm, all those things that are experiential riding, then I think you get to that 90% perfect part quickly and hopefully that last 10 still requires a human brain. If it doesn't, then I guess those brains just get to ride their bikes more.
So, turns out you're using AI with mountain biking already. It's happening with the development and the manufacturing. And how long will it be before that AI is actually part of the bike? And you might be thinking, I don't want that AI technology in my bike. It's not what it's all about for me. And you might be right, but that's your bike. And I think we could be talking about your children's bike and your grandchildren's bike, because they're growing up with potentially C3PO type people as their friends, walking around, chatting to them. And they're going to want a very smart bike that knows what they want, literally, when they think it. I guess we still look at that metaphor for the early times and the future. Who knows where it turns out? I guess let us know in the comments down below. Do you think AI could get involved in mountain biking to the levels I've dived into today? Be interested to hear what you think. Let us know in the comments down below.